cold, is it?
I am.
I'll put this on just in case. So how's your back?
Oh, I'm fine. I'm just.
Look a bit stiff.
No, I'm not stiff. Just after a while sitting on this.
Okay.
I'm fine. I'm not stiff. I'm not sore. I'm just tired. Going to bed shortly.
Okay. You're tired.
Yeah, because we're watching too many miniature quaint cuisine videos or come random daily satisfaction videos.
Why don't you do that then? Why don't you do a few little miniature videos?
Oh, because I'm not doing that now.
You could have cut the veggies up really small and made a small vegetable soup instead of a big one. You got that little fry pan somewhere, haven't you? No? Do we have one? Okay. Oh, look, it's Tony Abbott. I'm looking. Don't worry. What's he doing? I think so. Mrs. is just spotting a drunk walk down the road. What's he got, a torch or is that a phone?
It's a phone.
Phone, is it?
Yeah.
I think he's off his rocker. Yep. Definitely off his rocker. Got this bloke standing in the middle of the street with his arms in the air, spinning around.
That's why I didn't want you to talk, mate, because if he might have heard us, he might have come up.
That's right, smacking a nose would fix him. Yeah, I think he's taken a leak on a tree.
There's no tree there. There's just grass.
Yeah, but if he's stoned, he'll probably think, man, this tree feels like a fence. It's like a seagull coming up to a closed car window. What's going on? How come I can't get through there?
He's going to hit the fence. He's
Yeah.
going to walk straight into it.
He's going to try and climb it. Funny as. See you, mate. Have a good one, Tony. Definitely off his rocker, isn't he?
Yeah.
It's funny, he's trying to go through the fence. He can't figure out, why can't I get through there?
Probably thinks, I do live over there somewhere.
Oh well, it happens. Beautiful night here. Not really cold. I don't really need my dressing gown, but I chucked it on just in case. Oh, here comes another one. Must be zombie night. What is tonight? What day is it? Tuesday.
Tuesday. No, he's not. He's just obviously come back from the shop talking on the phone.
He's probably trying to find the
Or
other
the
person.
train.
Where are you? I'm up against the fence. I can't get through. Funny. Yeah, so we finished Austin's, well, not finished. mostly completed Awesome's garden today. Hope she likes it. Yes, it's crammed to buggery, but she's only got a little tiny space. So we try to work out the area that she had and we try to replicate the distance. So about 9 feet by 3. I think that's what she had to work with.
Oh, is it?
Remember she said on the back porch where she was going to do it?
No,
Okay.
don't remember.
And we do have cats. We have a ginger one that always comes past. But if any sign of cat activity in the garden, the next row of plants you'll see with little pussycat tails upside down,
No,
just
no
sticking out of the
way.
ground. Meow, meow. But it will be crammed. It'll leave bushes fighting over bushes. There's a light plane taken off. Because we're up so high, we can actually see the airport
Oh, just wish that
control
house,
tower.
wish that house was it there.
Yeah, you'd see the whole lot otherwise, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
If you stand in our driveway, you can actually see a lot of the airport.
the other houses would.
That's down in the valley.
The other houses wouldn't be a problem. Just this one is.
Supposed to be put a viewing deck on top of the house. Be interesting when a southerly kicked in. You'd be hanging for dear life. Your wife made a yummy vegetable soup, didn't you?
Mhm.
Did you send one to your sister?
Oh no, I haven't done that yet.
Oh, okay. Oh boy. G'day, JP. You can't stay. All right. Bugger off then.
Hey JP. I think Tuesday nights usually slow
You
anyway.
can't stay because there's no one fighting and there's no boobs showing. I understand. Oh, it's dinner in the land. Ah,
It's what?
so what a cup. Good stuff, mate. At the same time, I think, as mine. It's 8:30 there, I guess.
Oh, is it? He's not home.
He's in the land of smiles.
Oh. Have a good time.
Let me have a guess what he's doing about now. 8:30. Definitely a couple of beers going down. Definitely, probably some chicken being consumed. 7:30. It's now earlier. And he's probably already been in the pool. Put money on that. And what else? Probably buying some cheap smokes. Let's be honest. $1 a packet. Mind you, I think our dollar's fallen against the baht. It's beautiful there this time of year. In between there, here, September, October. And it's the cheapest time to go. I always found that weird. As soon as you get to November, you're on the shoulder season. Then you get to December, you're paying double price. Got some bargains at the moment, actually. There was 7 or 10 nights accommodation in Phuket, 5-star, big buffet breakfast, whatever you like. Looked at the reviews, pretty good. $730.
You alright?
Yeah. Yeah. Last time we were there it was 24 point something, so that's a bit of a hefty drop. Only the green. Yeah, you don't want to be doing the green where JP is dream, trust me. They do line you up and they will shoot you. I kid you not. How are you? Good evening. But Thai people are very beautiful, kind. Really, I mean, it's one of those places that you feel welcomed. Yeah, it's your tourist dollar, don't get me wrong. But even out in the hills they're like that. G'day, Adam. I forget where JP said he was going. He wasn't going to Phuket. I think it was Krabi, or was it the Big Smoke?
Lombok. Lombok?
No, that's in Indonesia, Lombok.
Say hello to Dream.
Have a good night, mate. I know you're going to have good fun. Time to time, pop in and say good day. Or do a live stream from over there, which is possible. Yeah, so we did a little garden for our friend in the United States. Or some hooker's garden. It'll be alright. Like I say, because it's all crammed. I've done it that way before, and sometimes you have other plants sort of get too big and a little plant in between will die. Yeah, that's okay.
Did you see how that in Monchichi and Dream?
I didn't see Monchichi.
No, I think that's because we were busy watching the weirdo walking down the road.
Oh, hello. Sorry, Monchichi. I didn't see you there. And Dream, I think I said hello to. Cowlack. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you'll love it there, mate.
We were just watching a couple of characters walking down the road. Don't know what they were doing, but stoned maybe.
Yeah, it's. I tried to explain that once, Monchichi. It doesn't matter where you go in the world. It's the people that make the difference. You know, governments are the same all around the world. They all suck. But the people make a country's visit good or bad. I think that's true. Would you say that? Some places we've been, even in Germany, been brilliant, and then some you sort of don't feel welcome. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So it's the people that make your visit worthwhile. Put you around so you can say hello to her. Can you see her?
Yeah, it's pretty dark though.
Oh, okay. So after we finished that garden today, we had a cold beer. First beer we've had for a while. Very enjoyable. Hello, Dave. The adventure unknown is blocked here. Wouldn't have a clue, mate.
I don't know.
I don't know. You're here. Yes, we put a little garden in today. That, you know that black Russian tomato? I don't think I've grown that before.
I don't know if it actually
We've grown the others.
I don't know if it is the one that I like, because the one...
The one
It's a
that you're
different
talking about
shape.
is a hybrid. That's the, I'm trying to think of that name today, but these are all heirlooms. So very enjoyable day. Took us from start to finish, from hairy grass and weeds to watering it, about 2 hours. Doesn't take long to start a garden. Takes a lot less to maintain it. Every now and down, get on your knees and pull a few weeds out. Give it water without flooding it. So, we're going to put a little bit extra in the area you've cleared with some Lebanese cucumber, because you like them the best out of all the cucumbers, and cherry tomato. So it's a very small garden. I will not be feeding the village with this garden.
Oh, get a fair bit of it.
It's amazing when you get out of a little garden though. It's done for Awesome Hooker, and I'm pretty sure I'm pretty spot on with the area that she had to work with. Maybe she had a bit less, I can't remember. And I wouldn't be doing it in the ground in her case. I'd be doing it in raised garden beds and maybe up against the wall. MPK, I've never seen an MPK with all those different colours in there. Obviously that's the colour compound of the nitrogen, phosphorus. You know what I mean? It's all different now.
Monchichi Road should be a cactus garden cap proof.
That's a thought actually, Monchichi.
I did see.
Or succulents, you know those succulents that you really have to water.
No, I meant cactus because of the spikes.
Yeah, that's I got it. Cat going, wow. But even in that little garden, we'll get so actually where the garden is, in about another 3.5 months, will just be pavers because we're going to repave the whole front.
Oh, fruit trees.
Put fruit trees in, lemons.
I just wanted to do something at the front because it just wasn't looking very nice.
Well, I would have had a normal garden in by now. But at the backyard, there isn't any area. It's just construction. So I thought about putting something right down the back, but there's very little of that left area because of those stormwater holes they've dug for those. Would have been just too hard to water. Well, Adam, at least that would be creative. Hello, Seal Hader. How are you?
Hey, Seal.
Yeah, but we enjoy that. I enjoy gardening. It's always the hardest work is preparation. Like if you watch the video, I haven't put hardly any real depth into the garden. Like good garden soil, it's not. It's very sandy. So I just added cow manure. It gives it a little bit of body, and I also added compost. Same thing, but it's just a growing medium. I mean, you'll see over the next few years, my beds look black because there's so much compost and organic material in them. Takes about, really does take at least 3 years to get a good soil. It's like people that buy compost and think, oh, that looks good, and they wonder after a few years why nothing's growing. And I say, well, all the nutrients in compost dissipate after 12 months. It's run its race. It's still a medium, it's all crumbly, which is great, but there's no goodness in there, so you've got to put more in there. More cow poo, more compost, keep, building up the soil. Before you know it, after about 3 years minimum, you've got a really good soil to work with. No, this is dried cow manure. Most wet manures can do terrible things to your garden. Things like chicken manure. Some people put chicken manure, even fresh, straight into the garden. That's just crazy. You need the process of the breakdown to occur. So in powdered form, it's stronger than in, getting it from the paddock because it's pulverized. So it's usually about 18 months minimum for organic cow manure. That's the one we buy. So to do all of that costs us about $70, but after you establish your garden beds, it doesn't cost you very much at all. And I rarely grow from seedlings. Always I grow from seeds.
Yeah, it's just our seeds, because that's what we sell, but we can't get to them right now.
Yeah, it's like, because it's all pulverized, and even though I put tomatoes in there, it's already broken down. You know what I mean? If you put fresh manure around tomatoes, you're crazy, because normally a good tomato bed, you'll have years of good soil in there, nutrition, in the way of nitrogen, and you rotate your gardens, of course. Where I have my tomatoes, the next season I would have things like beans, because they'll put natural fertilizers into Most of that'll be dead in 2 months.
Yeah, I know, yeah. Just thinking that because we won't water the front because it's getting ripped up.
No. Plus, by leaving a bit of grass on it, it actually, when it does start to die, you get a bit, it binds a bit. If you dug all the weeds out and the grass out, you just have dirt. With our winds, it would just blow everywhere.
Yeah.
What's cheapest topsoil? Well, you can go and find your own. If you're allowed to, go down near riverbanks, just come back about 30, 40 metres, or 60 feet. You'll find good soil.
Hey, Susan.
Hello, Susan. You if you can't do all that sort of thing by getting it yourself, you can improve your soil. Like this is really sandy soil, so we've got to add body to it. In other words, you've got to add organic materials. When it comes to like heavier soils, we try and break the heavy soil up.
We're buffering.
Are we?
Let's stop now.
If you want to break up a heavy soil, you tend to put things in like, it sounds silly, but chopped chaff, stalks of straw. So you've got this sort of broken up process. Add more organic material into a heavier soil, and that also breaks up, but it takes time. But you can, to grow plants, you just need a medium. You can have just water, as you know, with hydroponics. But I've always liked growing in good soil, and this is not good soil. So I've sort of band-aided the soil for this season, and it won't be a garden out here when we're finished.
That's what we've got is sand.
Yeah, ours is very fine sand.
River sand.
If you've seen any of the construction work, you would have seen at the back how fine the sand is. Thanks, Susan. It's only a little tiny. It's like, for me, it's a miniature garden. But it's what we wanted to do for Awesome. We said we were going to do it, so we did it.
Yeah. Did a little one here, and then better one when the house is done.
Oh, yeah, no, I'll have raised garden beds. River gravel and clay. Yeah. I'll tell you one way. I helped a friend once with terrible soil. We got in some good mixture of soil, and we also had manures and that, and we got a cement mixer. I kid you not. And we shoveled in a balance of what the soil we wanted, and we put it in wheelbarrows, and we took it over to where his garden was. And it took about 3 or 4 years, but he had really good soil. Underneath was really heavy soil. So we needed a good 400 millimetre, or about 1.5 foot of good soil, and then each year more compost, more shit, etc. Yeah, you know what I mean then, Adam. If you just go through the process, and you can. There's an old method that's done in countries that have heavy soil. They layer each year deliberately. They don't even touch underneath. They actually, their beds get higher because they'll get truckloads of horse manure, etc., and organic material. Yeah, it's a minimum of 3 years to get what it is. All your pH is balanced out. In sandy soil and heavy soil, your pH is different. Depends what's in your soil.
Buffering.
Oh, am I?
Yeah.
Oops. I don't know why it buffers.
Really bad.
It does it from time to time. Bit of a buffer. Sorry about that. Yeah, so, and I've got to be honest with you, the simple way to find out about your soil, like right now would be a good time for you, Adam. After 3 years, just scrape away the first couple of inches of your soil, and get your hand in and pull out a handful. Now, if it's well maintained, it should be moist but not wet. You should be able to crunch it in your fist and open it, and it doesn't move, but when you lightly tap it, it falls apart. I don't know what you call that. Friable, I would suggest.
So else does it go into the ground?
What does?
Do you mean compost seal? When you make up a compost, when you put it in, it goes into the ground.
Yeah, or just on the ground if low or slightly dug in. I tried to read what I ran into calcium deficiency this year. Have you got any natural limestone in your area, Adam? That's always good. Sometimes you can go to a quarry and just pick up a trail load of crushed lime, because it's just limestone that's been run over and over and over. like I say, it doesn't matter the medium you grow in as long as the plants can have nutrients. You can protect them from drying out, which is why you put a mulch eventually over. I will do in that garden as well. Doesn't take a lot to look after a garden. I won't bother doing anything with that garden tomorrow.
Oh, give it a bit of water.
Maybe a bit of water only because it's its second day in, but
yeah, I have to water the flowers.
unless we get extremely hot days, I'll only water once every second day. There's a reason behind that. If you water all the time, the water goes down to a certain depth and the roots will only go down to that depth. So when you do water, you water reasonably heavy without flooding, and the water goes down further. And if the water goes down further, the roots will go down further to get to that water. Hence, your plants are stronger. If you lightly water your garden every day, they will grow, but the roots will become just peripheral around the top part.
Okay, so we're buffering right now anyway. It's really bad. Why is it not showing yours?
Well, I don't get the seeds.
Maybe it's just me.
Yeah, things like potash, they're good to add to your garden. Not all the time. A bit of lime. Look, the simple answer is crap. Horse crap, cow crap.
Yeah, people put from their fireplace.
Well,
they mix ash in through their gardens.
Yeah, if you've got any ash in your fireplaces, just dig it out, put it in a box, and then every now and then when you've got a box full, just go around the garden and put a little bit. You're talking about potash. That's what it is. Depends what type of. I wouldn't do it with pine, I'll be honest, but any of your hardwoods would be good. That seal's going to shoot off somewhere. No worries.
Be right back.
I did catch Awesome briefly today in a chat and said hello. I made a video for you, but she gets busy.
Yeah, I was going to say she's fairly busy lately because the boys are now high school. She does homeschool, remember?
Well, she'll be feeding them all the time. It's like a never-ending machine.
Yeah, pine ash has got a lot of acid. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's just the acidity. It depends. Sometimes you may need acid increase in the soil because you have low pH, but generally stay away from pine. It's like when people put pine bark as a mulch. It's not a good idea. We got abundance of natural hardwoods, so we get. I'll show you when I get my real gardens going. I'll be putting mulch of jarrah, which is like stringy bits of timber, very fine, and it's just brilliant. It's like a great mulch, and also it's as a ground cover, keeps all your moisture in. It's like a lot of people will just water plants, and there's no mulch there, and the water goes down a bit, then the heat evaporates in our country anyway. And you sort of, it's one of those things, you're sort of fighting a losing battle. Right, the drunk person's coming back. I'll keep quiet for a second. She might think I'm talking to her. If you've ever watched the movie Mr. Bojangles, where he dances around and does a little bit of a skip, that's what this old fella's doing. Stoned as. He sounds like looks like he's enjoying it. But you don't want to strike up a conversation with someone stoned, if you know what I mean. They'll come over and say, "There you go, mate. Make me a cup of tea." Oh, I wouldn't be frightened of them, but I just, you know what I mean? You just can't get rid of them sometimes. Or we like the heat, like, it's getting close to the 30s again now, which is perfect temperature for us. It's about 88 to 90 degrees. That's cool. That's good. And we don't consider that extremely hot. Do you know what I mean? When it gets to the 38s to 45s, it gets pretty hot. Hello, Danny. Hello, Keeping. So the thing about, the good thing about cold weather is that you can put more clothing on. So it's got a plus there. You can keep warm by putting extra clothing on. But after a while, it gets a bit like monotonous every day putting on layers of clothing. But when it gets extremely hot, you can't take layers of skin off, if you know what I mean. So it's just one of those things. We're acclimatised to. In Europe, the wife was quite cold, I'll be honest. I thought it was okay. Thank you very much for your video, Danny. I've actually got to see it today. You're just an awesome singer. Not sure why you aren't on the stage. You know, doing tours of the United States. But thank you for that video. Very kind of you. Yep. There's no doubt. I mean, as you get older, like I grew up in an area where it was 40 degrees for a long time of the year, hot. But as you get older, you appreciate having an air conditioner. You know what I mean? Like you might be, like we were today in the garden, but by about 1 or 2 o'clock it gets really hot in summer. You don't mind coming in and flicking on the air conditioner. Whereas maybe as a younger person I wouldn't do it, but I'm getting soft at my old age. You know what I mean? Turn the aircon on when I didn't used to. Danny G is from heaven. She visits on occasions. See, it's actually Danny Halo. Looks like a G, but it's a halo. But she looks like an angel. Danny G does. And she walks like an angel. Danny G does. But she's the devil in disguise. Fine-ass old lady, that one. Yeah. I'm going to New Orleans. See that fine-ass old lady again. She'll be down Bourbon Street. Woo! That'll stick in my mind forever, Danny. I thought that was so funny. Danny G is from Texas. And Seal Hater says, and I add hottie. Ooh. Your admirers, Danny G. I think the boss is coming back. Could be in a bit of trouble. He's just clipping his crop. Not sure if I want a coffee. Maybe. Won't be on for too much longer. I think the boss is coming. Here she is. Shh. So you're making a coffee there?
No, it's too late.
Seal Hater says, I love hot women. Well, when you get to Hades, there'll be hot women everywhere. I like the beauty of a woman. But
You got echo.
See, the secret about life is that at any given stage, for any particular woman, they were hot. Do you know what I mean? Like maybe you were 26 and you were just hot. However, they just simmer after that. They're still hot. They just got a bit more style. You know what I mean? Seal likes some 50 under. All right, eh? So if you find a 51-year-old beauty pageant who's just gorgeous, you can't go out with that because she's 51. I understand. Yeah, fair enough.
No, but when he turns 47, he will then go for 51 and under. So maybe it goes up that way.
Look, Seal, the truth and the answer is it doesn't matter how old the person you find an affinity with, whether she's older or younger.
Yeah, well, actually,
irrelevant.
to a point. Too old, too young, no.
Yeah, I mean, at 46, I wouldn't like to see you go out with an 18-year-old. Though it's legal, you'll get the message as you're sitting in a cafe having a nice coffee with her, and some waiter will come over and say, "Oh, that's nice. You and your granddaughter enjoying the coffee?"
Yeah, a little bit of crazy's alright.
But you'll find someone. It'll happen. I've always said to people that the harder you look, the less you find. Stop looking and start living. Travel, go to nice places, you find nice people. If you get my drift. And don't have any expectations. Let the pages turn at their own speed. It was funny that the stone guy come back, he's doing little bojangles spinning.
I walked up that way, did he?
Yeah, I don't think he knows where he's going. This probably looks like Purple Rain walking for him walking down there.
Yeah, well, he tried to walk through the school fence, which is like 10 foot high.
Couldn't work out why he couldn't go forward. What's going on, man? I think a lot of people have too high expectations when you first meet someone you're very interested in. You think, oh yeah, we'll move forward at this pace. And it's not how it works. Often a relationship will end because someone wants to go a bit quicker than the other one. What's that? Alway F-U-C-K. What are you going on about, Seal? I think I might have to send you some bromide. Yep, you just got to let it, Adam, just let it happen. There is no guidebook for that. I had a mate of mine when I was in the prison service. He was infatuated with another female prison officer. And she was a nice looking lady, but she didn't want anything to do with him. But he sort of pined over her for years. Little gifts and would you like to go and get a coffee? And she just didn't have the heart to say no. So she would go and be like, oh, what have we done?
Well, she just told him. She just wanted to be friends. That's just making sense.
No, she didn't say that. She just went along with like going out for a coffee. When it was like, would you like to come out to a movie? She was like, oh, no. I don't like that movie. It would have been better to say, I'm not into you. Do you know what I mean? It's not me, it's you. But take that on board, Seal. The harder you look, the less you'll find. Stop looking, start living. So what are you guys up to today? You're just starting your day. Actually, someone pointed out to me, now don't take this the wrong way, a lot of people don't work for different reasons. One, you're retired. Two, there's no work. Or three, like on YouTube, there's quite a few people that are Fruit Loops who would never get a job anyway. You'll have to spell that out in English to me, Seal. I don't know what.
Don't quite understand that,
What
Seal.
pound of time in one day? No, I'm pretty good at cryptology, but that's got me beat. I remember listening to Dean Martin. You all know Dean Martin. Everybody loves somebody. Well, Dean did have a serious side. And he was saying some of the things that I'm repeating too about not rushing relationships and blah, blah, blah. But he said there's always a cog for a wheel. You just got to find the right wheel. But the harder you push the cart, the wheels fall off. Volunteer day. A retired colonel, a friend of mine, went and go drop off Net Geo's old magazine. Brilliant.
Oh, that's good.
You know, the biggest thing you're dropping off, Adam's not the goods, it's your time. You know what I'm talking about. We'll often sit and talk to an old fella, an old vet.
If they're not stoned.
If they're not stoned, yeah.
Walking down the road.
And they'll recant a few stories without even you asking. But the biggest thing they're thinking of is the time you're given. Because a lot of people are lonely and no one gives them the time of day. We've got services in Australia very similar where the RSL, Return Services League, just sends people around and, like you, drop a few books off, magazines, have a cup of tea and a bit of a chat. And they do that all day. They'll go and see 3 or 4 old fellas, or ladies. There's a lot of ex-service women in Australia. And I don't even have to ask you, Adam. I know you get something out of it as well. I'll give you a little saying which sticks with me, Adam, and I know what you mean. Some old fellas sort of very restricted by movement and age and illness and infirm. Just remember, once they were warriors, every one of them. Two minutes of your time is like getting a gift. Because that's the thing that's the most important in life, is time. You don't get it back. You can't suddenly say after 5 or 6 years and say, all those 2-minute visits I did, I want them all back. Nope. You've given them. You could lean down for 2 seconds, give an old fella $10. But if you sat down and talked to him for 2 minutes, that's worth a lot more than money. But that's something that's very poignant in my mind, is that everybody has a story. And look, guy might have been in the army, he might have been a cook, but he was still there. Or he might have been up the front, he might have lost his mates either side of him. But it's a team effort. So they all... Look, I mean, I'll tell you one thing, that if you've been in the service, the people you respect most are the people in the kitchen. Because they feed you. But even, you don't have to be a vet for someone to visit. We've got services here where people are just old, maybe not much family, or they've got family, but they're so far away, big country, Australia. So we'll have people just go around and do that. Maybe someone will go and put the washing on for the old fella, drop off a meal, have a cup of tea and a yak, and that means the world. Just because you're old doesn't mean you're worthless. One older guy got my attention one day and asked me to bring him a Playboy magazine. I got him the mag. He didn't ask you to dress up as well, did he, Adam? I'm just kidding. Yeah. Yep. I've often come across that situation saying, where's old John? Oh, he's gone. Yeah, but he appreciated you bringing her around. But it's even in normal society, like say, of this old lady who's only about 4'9". She spots me in the supermarket, even though she doesn't need the thing on the top shelf. She'll come up and ask me to get it down, and then you say, "Oh, the dog." It just starts a conversation. You say, "The dogs are doing well." I'm going, "I didn't know you had dogs." "Oh yeah, you've had dogs," and then she's got me. You know what I mean? Yeah, and for years. Blah blah blah. And of course, it's 5 minutes gone, but that's what she wants, and I'm sure as eggs. In that trolley at the end of the aisle. You know, you see, you go to the end of the aisle, there's a trolley with some bits and pieces in it. That's her trolley. Because she didn't want any of the things from the top shelf, you just left them in the damn trolley. Yeah. There's so many things that happen in your life, from beginning to end. But at any given stage, all of us were warriors at one stage, men and women. You're at your peak, at your prime, just firing on all cylinders. But there is an old saying, and I like to use it. Old people are young people with wrinkles. That's it. Because inside every one of us, we remember the warrior.
Oh, there was a thing I watched on YouTube. It was a lady, I don't know how the story came about. Adam would enjoy it. I'd have to find it for you, and next time maybe I'll have the link. She was a dancer, and she was, I don't know, I'm taking a guess.
Oh,
over
I remember
90.
that. We watched that video, didn't we? Yeah.
Oh,
She
you
was
saw that?
112, she was.
Was she that old?
Yeah.
And somebody, I don't know how it came about, but this young couple, brother and sister or boyfriend, girlfriend, I'm not sure.
Must have been related to the story. I remember she was in a nursing home near the end of her life.
And this young couple were about 25.
Yeah, and they somehow researched and they found out that this lady was a top dancer in the 1910s to 20s.
Yeah, so she must have been.
And this video was done in
Oh, you saw that, Adam?
2012 or something. And she was sitting in bed, Adam, wasn't she? And they played her. She didn't know the movie tone video that had been made at the time, but she was watching herself as a young girl or young woman dancing, and you could just see the look on her face. And for me, that expresses the terminology.
Yeah.
Once we were warriors.
She sort of was a little bit sad. I'm not following you, Sil, sorry.
Larry Flint, this was to do with magazine pornography. So we got to get Seal some bromide. You might have to go into that little room and turn the light off for 5 minutes, Seal. And come back and have a coffee.
I'll make you a coffee, Seal. Oh, it was an awesome story, and she started to move a little bit in the bed.
Yeah, just looking at her face though, the expressions were priceless. And she was saying, "Yep, that was me."
How do you know about this poor person, Larry Flint?
Larry Flint's famous because there's movies made out of it and all sorts of things.
I didn't know that. I don't know that. So how old
what
are
was
you?
the guys help me out? What was that Flint versus? I think he was being prosecuted for the magazines at one stage, and it was Flint versus something.
I just
And he was from Michigan.
So Susan gets me. She knows I'm stirring you.
Oh, I don't care.
There's a couple of good stories like that I've watched on YouTube.
But you see that, I remember down the bowling club sometimes you'd see a couple of old ladies talking, and then they'd put their hand out and put it on the lady's side. She'd say, "Oh, I remember that." Like they were like 20 again, do you know what I mean? And they're 85, 90. Oh, yeah. There's one thing you get to keep, you really do, good or bad, you get to keep all your memories.
To a point, depends if you get the awful Alzheimer's or
Oh, no, what I'm saying is, as a general rule, you get to
Dementia.
keep your memories.
That's very interesting, actually, because I've worked with Alzheimer's when I worked in the nursing home.
With who?
But Alzheimer's people.
Alzheimer's? Is that
They-
Don Simon's brother?
Shut up. They do forget the present, but they
Hello,
always go back to the
VMAC.
past. And this one lady, we had to get her a baby doll because she just constantly, where's my children? Where's my... It was so sad, but sort of, I don't know, just pulled at your heart. So we got her a doll and we all pitched in, bought outfits for it. Well, my goodness, the change in that woman. Because sometimes I can get very aggressive. Didn't have a problem with her at all after giving her a doll.
Alzheimer's is weird. I mean, I used to work with the elderly with therapy, and one of the things about losing your memory, it's generally the short-term memory they lose. They don't forget the significant events in their lives, like from 60 years ago or 50 years ago. They'll repeat that verbatim. But if you walk in the room and they say, where's my lunch? And I'm thinking, well, there's the empty plate in front of you. They go, oh, did I eat it? I go, yeah. Well, what did you watch last night? I don't know. But I can tell you about 1945. That's just how the mind works, I guess.
Yeah, it was. It's just amazing because, like I said, they just don't know their own strength and they get angry because they don't understand what's happening. It's sort of hard to explain unless you work with them. You can see that they know things and want to do things and say things, but they can't. And then you sort of have to steer them to another subject or...
And I know with Alzheimer's, there's triggers like someone will walk past with perfume on. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, that's why my mother used to wear that. But they can't remember yesterday or what they did this morning. Or,
No.
But there are triggers. And I'll be honest with you, I'm sure you all would agree, is that whenever you've smelt someone's perfume or you've seen or been some particular place that brings you a flashback of where you were once before, many years ago, and that's good. I'll send you a link if you want to see it, Seeds. Is this to do with Flint versus America? Is that what you're talking about?
I think so.
I've seen all those.
Yeah, Seeds has seen it. He understands what you're saying now.
If it's the one I'm thinking he's talking about. But saying getting old, it's just numbers.
So
You're
how's
still
my
the same person you were.
how's my chocolate girl?
Who's that? Susan?
No, VMAC.
Oh, VMAC, yeah. I told you the story about I got a gift from my sister-in-law from over the other side of Australia, and arrived. It was a big steel bucket about 14 inches deep by about 14 inches wide, full of chocolate. And in the middle was a bottle of 12-year-old whiskey. I haven't seen any of the chocolate at all.
Yeah, my mother, just before she passed, Adam, was because she passed on her birthday last year.
It was midnight on the day she died.
So Alan got up on YouTube. What was her name?
Marlene Dietrich singing Happy Birthday in German.
So my mum sang it.
Yeah, but taking it back 12 hours, her mum was not with us 12 hours before. She was totally catatonic. But when I played that song, as soon as the second beat of the music kicked in and she heard Marlene Dietrich's voice, she sang it in German, word for word, with Marlene Dietrich. And at the end of it, she said, and a happy birthday to me, talking about herself. That's the last thing she ever said. The very last thing. So being deep, basically about to pass, but then playing that song, she was vibrant and awake and singing.
Yeah, she was. It's
And then
amazing.
as soon as the song finished, she was gone again.
Oh, yeah,
But
music.
she didn't die for another 13 or 14 hours later, wasn't it?
No, it was before that because it was,
No, it was about-
midnight that you played her the song as
Yeah,
it turned to
and it
her
was in the
birthday,
afternoon
and
when
it was
she came.
7:30 that night.
I said about 14 or
Oh.
15 hours later. Wife's not very good at maths.
No, I'm not.
But it was a beautiful moment. brought a tear to my eye, and I'm thinking, wow, music is, as Adam puts in there, is extremely powerful.
Well, music, I listen to words of songs. If I don't like how the tune or the words are, well, I don't listen to it. But people don't often listen to actual words to songs because they've all got meaning.
It's
Songs
like
have
that
meaning.
song where it goes, and a Rona in the night. I said
That's
Rona.
why I said some songs.
Yeah.
You gotta listen and you think, what the hell? VMAX making herself beautiful. She's at the hairdressers.
Oh,
Shame we couldn't get you up on panel, VMAX. We'd embarrass you while
probably
you're
getting
there.
her nails done. Bit of special gloss lippy. Red shoes, short black skirt. Wonder where VMAX going. I know. The answer is to the chocolate factory. Yeah, it's moments like that you'll never forget.
I gotta tell you, it would be, how old am I? 56. It would be 30, I kid you not.
57.
I'm 56.
Okay, 56. What
Am
year
I,
were you born?
Am I 57? So
Yeah.
I don't even care about age.
Yes, you
Am
are.
I 50? Oh, okay, I'm 57. 30 years
Hang on,
ago.
open up your mouth, I'll check your teeth.
Shut up.
Yeah.
30 years ago was the last time I went to a hairdresser.
Yep.
Never been to one since.
Nope. It's got naturally curly hair.
I do my own. Oh, you're getting purple streaks.
You got to send us a photo,
Oh,
Mac. You can block out your face
cool.
if you like. We just want to see the carapace.
All right, Seal.
See you later, Sal.
Smile. I don't care about it. Quite often I've got to say, how old am I? Aged, I don't care.
Adam says, I turned 50 last December. Man, Adam's old. He's probably too old to be in the room. Do you think all those young'uns there?
Well, I don't feel 57. I honestly don't.
But life goes by real fast. Real fast. But the only thing I want to leave behind is footprints in the sand, just as the waves come and washes them away.
That's deep.
I'm happy. That's good.
Careful.
I was once there, but now I'm gone.
He's getting deep now.
39 and holding. What are you holding, Susan?
Susan's
I'm
a
just
young'un.
curious.
I remember when I was 39.
I remember when you were 39.
Shut up.
Yeah, I've sort of... Mine's weird. You would notice, during winter my hair darkens.
It's not white, Adam. It's silver.
But then during summer, I go blonde. I can buy a surfboard.
Oh, you do
Dun,
not.
dun, 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 dun.
It's,
Everybody is surfing.
it's silver.
But it's like, I mean, no matter how old you get, and you're only 39, Susan, but you still think when you're at your prime, like be it 30 or 40, you think about I don't know how to put it, in other words, the makeup of you doesn't change really much as the years go by.
Yeah. A lot of people pay a lot of money to go platinum blonde, Adam, so just think about how much money you're saving.
Adam's going to go platinum blonde.
No, he calls it.
You can do a hangout then and go, a kiss
43.
on the hand can be
Hang on, I'm confused.
quite
43.
continental,
No,
but
you're
Adam's
39,
got
Susan.
platinum blonde hair. 43. Susan just went from 39 to 43 in 3 minutes.
Yes.
That's how fast aging can occur. Silver-haired old men.
Yes, that's right. I say silver.
I can dress up, VMAC. A lot of people always say, you're a dag. I go, yeah, I like shorts, sandals, t-shirt. But I can put on the suit. I can shave up, look suave. but I'm not comfortable.
You know what? Silver hair, well, I call it silver, whatever you want to call it. It looks good on. As you age, it looks good on you.
I think some older women look really nice
Yeah.
with the way they do their hair.
And there are young people that go and pay to get that colour.
Yeah. And Adam says, I prefer to think of it as I look a lot like Billy Idol. Okay, there's the way to handle it. Jerry Lee Lewis. Good old Jerry Lee Lewis. Married a 13-year-old. We have a name for that these days. That's strange.
I didn't know that. Did he really?
Goodness gracious, great bottle of pie.
Did he really?
Yes, he did.
How old was he?
Oh, I think he would have been 38, 39.
Why in the hell did that happen?
Because it did.
See, that's just wrong.
Yeah, but I mean, time's gone by. My older sister married at 15.
Yeah, well, but she was pregnant before she got married.
No. I'm just saying that was normal. Wasn't like, you're talking about in the early 70s. That wasn't unusual.
I don't know. Like when someone turns 25 or something, I don't know, it's hard, 25 and marries someone 20 years older than them. That doesn't sound so odd. But a 13-year-old marrying a 39-year-old, that sounds wrong.
I forget how old he was. He was a lot older though.
Oh, his cousin.
Yeah, it was his cousin.
Oh, God.
It was kept sort of under the carpet for a while.
Did you drop something?
No?
Gee, was it first cousin?
It's funny because there was an attitude when I was a kid that women that got married at like 15 or whatever, it wasn't always because they were pregnant. Sometimes it was, of course. But it was like they were out of that family.
Yeah, normal.
They're now with him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can imagine going back 1,000 years. Even in our history, there's history of women being betrothed to another man and she's only 11. A lot of the royals did that.
Yeah, that's right, Mac. Yeah, country folk. Oh, Adam, do you miss those days, do you? Peace, love and nude.
Now listen. Bum, 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 bum. Adam comes on stage. Bum, bum,
I'll
bum,
go
bum.
for the peace and love now, but I don't really want to go for the nude anymore.
The naked generation. Probably very liberal generation. Peace, love. It's like VMAC would know exactly what I'm talking about because Canada is very similar to Australia. You're in a country town, and you experienced it a bit when you came to Geraldton. But when you've got, like, you grow up in a town from very young where you're considered a local. But if you come there when you're like 25, 26, and you're there for 40 years, you're still not considered a local. It's a bit of a tight-knit community, if you know what I mean. And they can be quite condescending to new people. Like, oh, we've been here for years, you're not important.
Yeah. You got visitors you didn't even know you had, friends you had.
What are you talking about?
I only come to visit to check out who I was.
Oh, yeah, you've been giving up the old market scout. Oh, yeah, she's all right. She's
clicked
okay.
on pretty quick after the second visit when you said, geez, I haven't seen that person in 10 years. And I'm thinking, oh, I wonder why.
Yeah, the local goss.
And then when they start asking you all these questions, you think, oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, Adam, that's very serious in country towns in Australia. You sort of, because you're not born in the district.
Your kids are considered, like, if you go there and you have your kids are more local than you are because they were born in the town.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, you've been here a long time, but you're not really local. Even though you're the mayor now, you own half the town, you're still not local. They don't look at success in that aspect. They'll look at, well, you're not from around here. Like, I grew up in a district where some of the families went back 6, 7 generations. So you get the understanding, you know what I mean? Like, it's their town in their eyes. But in the modern world, it's different. Like, everywhere's pretty much the same. All our major cities are multicultural, all around the world. There are no exceptions.
You're not getting purple dye all over your phone, are you, VMAC?
I remember two Canadians talking years ago on a chat room I was in. And one guy was saying, how long you been in, where did he say he was from? I think it was Toronto. And the guy said, yeah, I don't live too far. I've been here for 30 years. And the other Canadian said, oh, so you're not a local. I thought that was funny, thinking that's exactly what people would say here. You're not a local.
Oh, never mind, I'm going to bed. Got the grandson in the morning.
Got his crumpets ready?
Yep.
Our grandson that comes here in the morning, goes to school, loves his crumpets. Yes, I understand what you're saying there, mate. In Nova Scotia, if you weren't chased out of Scotland by the English in the 17th and 18th century, you were not to be trusted. You could be a redcoat.
Nova Scotia. How do you say that? Nova Scotia.
Nova Scotia.
Nova Scotia. We're going there?
Oh, you might.
I like that name, but I can't say it. Nova Scotia.
Can you imagine a Canadian coming out looking at some of our town names?
Well, you couldn't
They're tongue
pronounce.
twisters.
You couldn't pronounce some of them from Sydney. New
Oh,
South
well done.
Wales towns.
Yeah, but that's colloquial. It's like in Sydney you got Coogee, and in West Australia you got Coogee. It's only a slight variation. Yeah, I suppose, Adam, if the population is transit, it's moving around all the time. 5 years is a long time. But in old country towns in Australia, where they've been there since the early 1750s, when a new person comes to town, it's a bit like the Batwing doors open of a bar. There's a piano playing and people, then you open the door and go, ooh, it's the Milky Bar Kid. But yeah,
I remember that commercial.
you do. You have a Sydney. I don't think you have. I'm pretty sure you actually do have a Melbourne as well, somewhere in Canada.
Oh, it was weird.
There's a Melbourne in.
Was
I'm pretty sure it's
and a Perth. There was a Perth
in Florida. There's a Melbourne.
There was a Perth in Germany. That was so weird to hear
Yeah.
that.
So you're having purple streaks put through. Your long blonde hair, of course. A tight black skirt. Red stilettos. Glossy lippy. Where are you
Are
going,
you
Vina?
dreaming, Seeds?
You're not going to work, obviously. If you went to work like that, they'd say, sorry, you don't work here. You had the wrong place.
What we found in Sydney, no matter where you went, in every suburb there was a road called Bounty. Bounty Road.
Boundary.
Boundary Road.
And in every town in Australia, there's a road called Railway Parade.
Yeah.
Boundary Road. You'll have Boundary Road West, Boundary Road East, etc., etc., etc.
Well, actually, Adam, everything is out to kill you because I don't know if you're in the room the other week when I said it. We've even got a plant in Australia that's called the suicide plant. Because if you rub up against it, the pain it causes has caused people to go and pop themselves.
Okay.
It affects some people.
We didn't
worse
plan
than
any of them
others.
today, by the way.
We didn't, no. But you Google it, the suicide plant. It's horrible.
No, if you come to Australia, Adam, it is hot a lot of the year. But if you come around about April, May, June, July, it's okay.
But
You'll even wear a jumper or a
but
sweater.
You think about it, like, we live with these animals that can kill you. I mean, we've woken up, had them in our bed, for God's sake, spiders.
Yeah,
What
that
the
was a
hell?
good one.
That was...
Into bed naked, something in the middle of the back. I said, I'm going to get up quite quickly, but I want you to have a look when I get up.
And there's bloody...
I actually did a little video of it and we ended up putting it out in the garden, didn't we?
That No, that was a black spider in the bed.
Oh, was it?
The huntsman when I was on the toilet, and I went to get the toilet paper. This bloody spider, as big as Seed's hand, comes out of the toilet paper.
Actually, Adam, if you go to Mystic Angel's channel, you'll see a little video she did of the huntsman on the toilet paper. She's pulled her knickers down, sat on the toilet, gone to grab a bit of toilet paper, and the huntsman's sitting there.
Oh my god, and it was so close. I had my phone on me because I was reading something. I was having one of those sort of toilet visits. So I couldn't help myself filming it, and I'm thinking, just lucky I'm on the toilet because I literally pissed myself. It scared the hell out of me.
I've been lucky enough in my lifetime to go around Australia a few times. It's a big country. But I've seen rivers full of crocodiles. I've seen snakes like you wouldn't imagine. Water buffalo are the most dangerous in this country. They'll kill you.
America, I want to go to America and go for walks in these nice parks and whatever you have. And I'm thinking, what the hell you have? What is cougars and all the things jump out at you? So you've got some deadly things
they're just
as
big
well.
pussycats. BMac says we have no poisonous snakes or spiders.
Oh, Adams, you Google that, you'll see that on YouTube. Someone in Australia actually did that.
What?
They got a blowtorch to kill a spider they had in their house somewhere, a kitchen or something, and they did. They burnt their house down.
But the spider copped it.
I mean, it's not funny, but it is.
We do
Oh my
have
God.
7 of the top 8 poisonous snakes in the world, but you rarely see them. We got about 6 of them in our state, all different named snakes, and they're deadly. However, we probably lose maybe one person a year to a snake bite.
Oh, no, we lose more than that.
No,
It's usually kids, but we do lose more than one.
but not many. We lose a few to sharks each year, but it's their playground and we're in it.
It has its seasons. Like some years, no one dies from any of that sort of thing, which is good. And then there's other years where there was one year there was 5 people died of a snake bite, and then there was something like 10 people got attacked by sharks. But then for a couple of years there was nothing.
Well, we get a lot of bushfires in our country, and if it just happens to be on the outskirt of a town, but the town doesn't get burnt, you can just imagine all the snakes, all right, and the fires coming.
And spiders.
They all come into town. Well, I used to go diving up north, and one of the biggest things we always were wary of is yellow belly sea snakes, which you'll die if they bite you. We had a net out one day trying to catch some bait fish for the fishing of the day, and I was holding the net on the beach, and my brother-in-law at the time was just doing a little loop. He says, "Man, there's heaps of weed out here." And we got in and we started pulling up the net. Probably about 300 yellow belly snakes in there. It wasn't weed hitting his legs. It was snakes.
I was going to say, Mac, what is a wold? A wolf? Yep, well, I believe that, Mac, because dingoes,
She'd hate the bird spider in Australia then, wouldn't she?
oh.
Bird spider has a little trapdoor on the ground.
Yes,
Actually, makes it out of paper bark, so it looks just like the ground.
Yeah, you've got wolves.
And when birds land here, the spider would actually get seeds and they'd put them around the edge of the hole. And the bird would begin, nice bit of sip.
Now, that would have been scary. for
Spider
that
about as
guy.
big as my hand. Just comes out. Big fangs. But it does it to eat. It doesn't do it out of malice. Let's be honest.
I respect all animals, even domesticated ones.
Well, that's the irony. Even in Australia and in the US, and I'm damn sure in Canada, cats don't generally kill people, but dogs do. It's staggering the amount of deaths by dogs.
Oh,
We had 2 in our state this year. An old lady was mauled and she died.
The sad
And then a
thing,
young kid.
the sad thing with that older lady, they were 2 rescue dogs, and she
Yeah.
had them for years. And
Just turned on her.
she, what they figured out, she went into the pen the wrong way to what she didn't usually do,
Startled them or something.
and so the husband was devastated, and then the lady who rescued kangaroos, one of her kangaroos she'd had for years turned on her.
You're very
Killed her
vicious
with
kangaroos.
one swipe.
If you see, I'll give you an idea. This is a cigarette lighter. All right, you all know what that looks like. You can imagine a kangaroo paw and in the middle they have like 2 or 3 either side, and they've got this big claw in the middle, and it curves down. If they get you with their front hands and they lift up their back legs, they can debowel you, and it's happened. Big reds, you know, they're up to 7.5 feet tall when they stand on their back legs.
Yes,
And
dingoes
they can be quite aggressive.
dingoes can be dangerous, Adam. So
Yeah.
VMAC, this guy that got it pulled by the wolf, was he alright, or what did he do?
If you just, Adam, if you Google Fraser, spelt Fraser, Island, Fraser Island and dingo, it's a tourist destination where dingoes run wild. But they attack humans all the time. Seriously. So just type in Fraser Island, dingo, and you'll see what I mean.
Oh, kangaroos are cute, Susan, but you
Yeah, they're
do
cute.
not go up to especially a wild one. Just
Well,
because you have them
A big
hopping
one,
on-
put it that way,
Yeah.
a big red.
Just because you have them, oh cute, he's coming into my yard every night. You be careful. You don't go pat them.
It's Fraser without the I, Adam, it's just Fraser. It's not Frazier, it's Fraser.
Yeah, that would have been awful for him.
But
mate.
dogs kill a lot of people all around the world. You'd be staggered the amount of people that die from being mauled by a dog. I would have been probably about 6, and I was walking down the street with my old man, and he stopped. I don't know why we're stopping. And next time I turned my head around, this Alsatian put his mouth completely around my head. Obviously bit me. I end up with a little dimple here from one of his fangs, but yeah, dogs are unpredictable. They literally are a wild animal. Mind you, I don't hold any fear for my daughter's chihuahuas, mainly
No.
because they can only savage my ankle.
Oh, chihuahuas can be killers. A bigger dog would choke on it.
That's true. My dog can kill you, dog, because it'll choke you.
Yeah. No, you know, that's like the law in Australia is because people do it, but it's against the law to breed a dingo with any other breed of dog. But people do it because they want that dingo in their dog. But it's
What's that site you showed
illegal.
me the other night where they're feeding the cheetahs?
Oh,
And-
that's on WhatsApp. That was
Yeah, but it must be a link to a video. But
no, that was it. That was the video.
Ah,
Four,
anyway, she
four
got this-
top jobs.
yeah, there was this video of these were Africans in Africa. Like imagine a big old skip bin. It was full of cut up meat, and there would have been 40 or 50 cheetahs, and they're just throwing a bit out here and throwing a bit out there.
That was their job, to feed these
Yeah.
cheetahs.
And another guy's got a massive hippo, and this guy's sitting on a rock on the edge of the bank, and he's brushing the teeth of this hippo. There goes Pushcat now. See
Well,
over there. Not listening, Pushcat.
the ginger one.
Yeah.
VMAC, chihuahuas are, but the reason why chihuahuas are is because people don't socialise them from puppies. If you socialise them with other dogs and lots of people for at least the first 12 months, 2 years of their life, they're fine. Because
I agree with VMAC on one instance. Like if you've got
Yes.
an old lady that's had a couple of chihuahuas for 10 years,
exactly.
anyone that comes in the house, they want to take chunks out
And
of you.
if they're not socialised, they do. They go for you.
So you had a quick look at Fraser Island, did you? And that's a tourist destination. So when you come down to Australia, go to Fraser Island and get bitten by a dingo. Or maybe mauled to death. We've got loads of things here that would kill you, but so have you guys.
Yeah, you've got, like I said, go for your national parks. Cougars, what else you got? And then you got your bears, your wolves.
I mean, there is a lot of misconception. I think Steve Irwin's done more damage for Australian tourism than anyone. It's a beautiful country. The ocean and the beaches are magnificent. We've got really big built-up areas that would make any of your big cities look flash, just like ours. We've got something that a lot of countries haven't got, and that's the outback. It's stunning.
America's got outback.
Not like us. I mean, in my state of Western Australia, we have 7 deserts alone. So it's a big state.
It's like roadkill, like when you're going on long drives around Australia. Your main thing that you got to watch out for is emus and kangaroos.
Emu is the worst when you get an emu. Kangaroo can sometimes bounce off your car. An emu's body weight,
But they
big long
can
legs,
ride
big mass,
there.
like 100 kilo in the middle, and you hit that, your car's finished.
They can write your cars off, and of course you get the old cow that crosses the road. You've got to be careful, but we don't have to watch out for moose or bears or
No.
because I mean your moose.
Most of our little things that'll get you are little tiny things.
your moose
crawly
is
things.
pretty big.
What you coming towards the camera? Little crawly things.
Deer.
Sleeping in your bed in Australia. Just kidding.
But see, deers are so cute. But they could write your car off too, I suppose.
Actually, if you pulled the head off a deer, put it on a kangaroo, it wouldn't look out of place. Other words, they're pretty similar in that aspect. I didn't mean literally pull the head off a deer and then pull the head off a kangaroo. I'm saying in an analogy. And you haven't even taken any drugs.
No,
Yeah, we get a lot of locusts. We'll have years where the drought's so bad and the locusts come through. They literally just eat everything. If you have a veggie garden when the locusts come through, all you have left is compost.
Oh, and then we've got the cane toads.
Cane toads.
They're poisonous. But they're a pest.
When I used to go crayfishing, I used to get up early in the morning, and sure as eggs, there'd be 7 or 8 rabbits or kangaroos just been hit on my way down to the beach. And I would just pull over and pick them up, put them in the bait basket, and the lobster used to love that. Free bait. But I think the beauty of this country is that we're surrounded by water, and it's just magnificent.
Oh, I'm going in.
Yep, I think we'll call it a night. Good catching up with you all. Didn't catch up with Awesome, but that's okay. She's just ignoring us. I understand.
She leads a busy life with her boys in high school now.
Yeah. All right, good people. If it's the start of your day, enjoy it because it was magnificent here today. The sun was shining. We're out in the garden. Beautiful. And we had a cold beer at the end, didn't we?
Yeah.
First one we've had in a long time. Nice
I
dark
hope your hair
beer.
turns out how you want it, VMAC.
Yeah, I like it.
Purple, it's got to be perfect.
Just stick your hand in front of
Favourite
your
colour?
face and then do a selfie, VMAC, so we can just see the outline of the
Now just send
purple
me a picture of your
streaks.
hair.
All right, guys.
Oh yes, Susan and her stories. You still haven't done a story for Susan.
I did a story for Susan Brown.
No, you have not tonight. You haven't. You
Well,
haven't
not
put-
tonight.
And you haven't put any up on video for her.
And Susan wanted a
have not.
scary story. I wonder what I'd call that story.
You're slack. She's been waiting for a video patiently. Comes and says hello to you, and then
I have been a bit busy.
then you don't do a video for her.
All right.
I'll get him onto it, Susan.
Yeah. How remiss of me. Anyway, people, enjoy the day. Make the best out of it. Have a laugh. And we'll see you next time.
Oh, VMAC wants an Aussie ghost story. So
Oh,
now you've
there's
got to
a-
do two.
There's a Min Min story I could tell, VMAC. Anyway, be good. If you can't be good, be careful. And it's good night from
Oh, that looks spooky.
no comment. See you guys. Have a good one.